today we are going to take a look at House of a Thousand Corpses. Hands down my favorite Rob Zombie film as of right now. I love this film. When I first saw it, I loved it. And it's very underrated. It is a 2003 American exploitation horror film written, co-scored, and directed by Rob Zombie in his directorial debut. Now, right off the bat, I was a Rob Zombie fan with his music. I love his music. And as an artist, no matter what he's doing, music or movies, I think he's got a unique style. Now, with that being said, I don't think he was the right choice for the Halloween movies. I think, push that aside. That's another video. But a movie like this really suits his style. I mean, this is an original film. It's original. I mean, the killer they talk about, which has like a supernatural element, is original. I think the Firefly family is original. It's got that backwoods kind of feel to it. Even though there are typical horror cliches that are in this film that you can't really escape from, because that happens in a lot of horror movies. Otherwise, it wouldn't be your typical horror film. In that way, I think it shines as that, but I think it's a movie on its own. And I think it's very good. Very, very well done. The wardrobe, the costume designs are amazing. The characters are unique. I mean, let's go over the character names. The killers, the Firefly family, which this movie focuses around. You got Baby Firefly. You got Otis. You got Rufus. You got Tiny. You got Grandpa Hugo. I mean, these names, Captain Spaulding, these names are just so comical, at the same time unique. They're interesting. I mean, I found the characters to be interesting, and I wanted to know more about them, and I wanted to see what they can do. But the movie is set on Halloween, and it focuses on the Firefly family, like I said, where they are mutilating and torturing teenagers, and then there's this group of teenagers that are traveling across country. They're writing a book on strange roadside attractions. They stop at Captain Spaulding's, place, which is a gas station with a murder ride. And, they meet Captain Spaulding himself, played by Sid Haig, and he's fantastic. He's like one of my favorite characters. They ride this murder ride, and they find out that there's this legend of a killer that got hung from a tree nearby, called Dr. Satan. And again, it's a very unique name, and it's something made up, but it's unique in that way. It's not copying off anything, even though the story of Dr. Satan, how he wanted to take people and like screw around with their brains and make them kind of superhuman, kind of reminds me of House on Haunted Hill, what the doctor wanted to do there with the mental patients. But I mean, it's not the same thing. It just kind of reminds me of that. But I thought Dr. Satan, I thought that was kind of a cool legend. So Captain Spaulding draws these kids a map to the hanging tree where Dr. Satan was hung. And so when they start to drive out there, they meet up with Baby Firefly, played by Sherry Moon Zombie, and their car ends up breaking down by her house. And it was all planned, it was all orchestrated. And so they end up going to this house out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and they start to notice strange things that are going on. And then they meet the Firefly family, and how they're all weird, and what their rituals and stuff like that. Just amazing movie. Like, I don't know, I love it. But the film explores other genres. I mean, like I said, there's the element of the supernatural in there. And, Rob Zombie was influenced by horror films of the 70s. I believe it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes, 1977. He, you can kind of tell that with the house out in the middle of nowhere with the crazy family, in a way. The brutal nature of how they, they're like the backwoods people. It does have references from those two films. But it only had a $7 million budget, and it made like, I think, over 16 million worldwide. And I think the opening weekend made at least 3 million on its opening weekend. Filming began in the year 2000. And what had happened was the movie got shelved because of the graphic content. After that all concluded, 3 years later, obviously, it was picked up again, but in release. It was released on April, I believe, 11th, 2003. But it features blood and gore and controversial scenes that involves masturbation and necrophilia. I mean, they're not really long, stretched out scenes. There's times in this film where they go from a transition to a scene and then another transition, and the transition will be in a different tone, color, and it'll do something where Sherry Moon Zombie is laying naked next to a skeleton and going like this, like that, and it's like a music montage that happens. It's I wouldn't really call it over the top or anything like that. It's weird, but it's I think it suits the movie for what they're trying to go for. But yeah, I don't think it's out of this world. Oh my God, I've seen worse than that. But the movie was shelved because of it, because they feared that they would have to give this an NC-17 rating. But after that, Lionsgate picked it up. So, yeah, I didn't even know this either, but a lot of the scenes were shot at the Universal backlot. A lot of the scenes were. But this movie was critically panned. Critics hated it. I still don't understand it. They didn't like the side plots with the characters, the main character, I believe it was Denise, with her father. You have Walton Goggins in this, who is a deputy. Some of the side characters, I guess, maybe people didn't care for, but I didn't find it a big deal. It just added more characters and more interest for me. But it mainly focuses on the Firefly family, like I said. But it was the final performance of Dennis Fimple, who played Grandpa Hugo. He played Grandpa Hugo in this, and he passed away in 2002. And I really liked him in this movie. He does this really funny stage show on there, screaming at the top of his lungs and stuff. But the film was dedicated, to him, his memory and stuff like that. So, but the overall tone of this movie is just really, really cool. Like I said, I love the costumes. I love the makeup and the practical effects. There's some really good effects and camera work. There's this one scene where Otis, played by Bill Moseley, is going to shoot Walton Goggins. The camera is close, and then it starts to pan up, and he's still sitting there, and he's panning up, panning up, panning up. All of a sudden, it gets all the way up here. All of a sudden, he shoots him, and it's slow motion. You see him shoot the gun, and it's like the bullet comes out the backside of his head, and he falls over. Some really awesome camera work, and with the cool transitions, between scenes, really kind of give it a weird, creepy vibe in ways. But you got the whole family together. What's her name? I believe it was Karen Black, who played Mama Firefly, but she's also known as Gloria. I think you find that out in The Devil's Rejects, because she's played by someone else in The Devil's Rejects. But I thought she did a fantastic job. They all did. Bill Moseley, Sherry Moon, You know, the guy who played Tiny, he's actually in the Guinness Book of Records. I don't remember what his name was. I think it was McCrory or something like that. Let's see if I can find him here. Matthew McCrory. He has the Guinness Book of Record of being the tallest actor with the biggest foot and the longest toe, and he plays Tiny in this. Just all the characters, they were just awesome. And the main, let's see, I don't remember what her name was. The main chick, Denise. Now she was in 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams. She was the one that was having the affair. That's how I know her. And then there's Jennifer Jostin, who plays one of the main girls, and she was in a movie called Shot. And if you haven't seen my latest like recommendations, like underrated movies, definitely check that out where I talk about Shot. She's in that movie, and that's how I know her, because I saw that before this. So yeah, that was cool. But yeah, this movie, you know, it's your typical thing where the bunch of teenagers go somewhere, they get into trouble, they come across this weird family, and then stuff starts happening to them. But I don't know, I was just really surprised. It's got vulgar language and blood and gore, just everything you can want. When it comes to Rob Zombie, that's his style. It shows with his other films. Some of my favorite scenes, though, I like all the ones with Captain Spaulding. I think the guy is hilarious. But, you know, some of my favorite scenes are with Bill Moseley, when he's giving his speeches like, "My brain is locked." He's like, "I need to break free from these repercussions that in this thick incrustations that are rotting on the surface." And just some of the stuff that he says is just fantastic. Man. And Sherry Moon Zombie, she's just nuts in this movie as Baby. She laughs like, she's like, ha, like that. She's like, who's my favorite actress in the whole world? If you get this wrong, you're fucked. And like, oh my God, she could be like sweet, and then she could just turn crazy. But the third act, I really love, where you find out a little bit more about Dr. Satan. Now, I'm not going to give it away, but the third act, it goes to that supernatural level, but it reminds me of The People Under the Stairs for some reason, because they go underground and there's like this room and there's people. That's what it reminds me of. It just, like, the characters are so cool, the designs, you know, with a couple of the main characters and what they have to go through. It's just, oh man, I don't know. I love that third act. I love the ending to this movie. It's just all around a great horror film, very underrated, and I would say it's criminally underrated because, like I said, critics hated this movie. But yeah, that's basically my review of House of a Thousand Corpses.